Good morning, everybody. As we go to the Pasha of today, today's Wednesday, we're holding the fourth reading in the portion of Pikudei. We're holding on chapter 39, verse number 33. And they brought to the Mishkan, they brought the entire Mishkan after they finished building it to Moshe Rabbeinu. So oil was called Caleb, the tent and all its furnishing, all its vessels. Krosov, its clasp, Kroshov, its planks, Berichov, its bars, Amudov, and its pillars, Vadonov, and its sockets. Now she says, what do you mean the Aviyas of Mishkan and Moshe? Why did they bring it to Moshe? Because they couldn't, actually because they could not erect it. Since Moshe had done no work for the Mishkan, the Holy One, blessed be he, left it for him, the task of actually putting up the Mishkan. So no human being could erect it by himself because the heaviness of the planks, and no human was strong enough to put them up. But Moshe was able to put them up. Moshe said before God, blessed be, how is it possible for a human being to erect this? It's a humongous. Don't forget, it's 10 amas, the 15 to 20 feet high planks. How is it possible to erect it? And the God replied, you work with your hand. Here Moshe appeared to erect it, and it arose by itself. This would mean what it says, the Mishkan was set up. It was set up by itself. This is brought down in the Medrash Tanchuma. It's covering the red skins. The covering of the Chashim skins. And the screen of dividing. Sa'arein, the ark, ha'edus of testimony. Badav and its poles. Vesakapedes, and the cover over the ark. So Shulchan, the table, Veskol Caleb and all its vessels. Veslechem upon him and the showbreads. Vesmeneres HaMa'atayra, the beautiful pure menorah, its lamps. It's said, Neres HaMaracha, the lamps that were set in order of the implement. Veskol Caleb, all its vessels. Veshem Hamar, and the oil for lighting. As Mizbach Hazav, the golden altar. Veshem HaMishchan, anointing oil. Vesketeres Hasamim, and the incense. Vesmasach Pesach El, and the screen, the entrance of the tent. As Mizbech HaNechayshech, the copper altar. Vesmichbar Nechayshves, and its copper grating. Vesashaleh, which comes with it. As Badav, its poles. Veskol Caleb, all its vessels. As Akir, the wash basin. Veskane, and its base. Skala Achatza, the hanging of the courtyard. So Medel, its pillars, its sockets, and the screen of the gate of the courtyard. It's Meresra, it's all its ropes. As he said, its pegs. It's called Avedis Mishkan, all the implements of the Mishkan, which is called the tent of meeting. As Big Dasran Shadid Bakedesh, the meshwork garment to service of the holy. As Big Da Kedesh and the holy garments to Aaron the Kayin, as Big Diban Lachain, and the garments to serve the Kohen. Whatever in accordance with which the Lord commanded Moshe, Israel, this is what the Jewish people did. Let's call Aveda all this work. Moshe Rabbeinu saw the work. They did it, Hashem, which God commanded. Cain also, this is what they did. And Moshe Rabbeinu blessed him. Now she says, what's the blessing he blessed them? He said to them, may be the will of God. That the Shechina should rest in the work of your hands. And may the pleasantness of God, of our God, be upon us. And this is one of the 11 Psalms by the prayer of Moshe Rabbeinu. You can find in Tillim from chapter 90. And that completes the Chumash for today. We now go to the Tanya of the day. We are holding in the end of chapter 34 of Tanya. So the end of chapter 30 up to this point, the Alter Rebbe discusses various joys in which one ought to strive to attain when sadness over a spiritual shortcoming. The joy of one's soul on being released from exile within one's body, the animal soul. The joy of being close to God through the awareness of His unity, and the joy of occasion by contemplating God's joy, the crushing of Sitra Achra, and so on. Now, the Rebbe now goes on to state that all these forms of joys do not conflict with bitterness and remorse and sadness that one experiences over one's spiritual failing. That means you can have the concept of joy and sadness. This concept doesn't contradict to have sadness and joy at the same time. For although joy and sadness are opposites, they can nevertheless coexist when each has its own distinct cause. So I am happy for A, and I'm going to be sad for B, and they don't contradict one another. Because over here the joy is in God, and the sadness is about my failings, and they don't contradict. I got to be happy with my successes in my relation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and what God has accomplished in the world, even though I have to be at the same time sad in situations that I failed in. All the specific types of enumerated above do not the joys of the soul. Doesn't contradict that at the same time that a person should be nivze be'ein of nimas. He should be ashamed and despised of in his own eyes. V'leiv nishbor, having a broken heart. V'ruat nemoicha, and having a spirit, humble spirit. At the very time that he's having joy. Why? The time for the shame and so on is prompted by one's awareness of the lowliness of his body. So in the aspect of the body, he should realize he should be humble. He should be humbled. He should humble the body. He should realize the lowliness of the body and what the body has brought him to, and what the nefesh habahamis, the animal soul, has brought him to all evil things. The nefesh habahamis, the animal soul. So I can be sad of my animal soul's life and ultimately my body's existence and what it did. But yes, b'simcha, at the same time, be happy mitzad nefesh elokis, for my godly soul. V'nitzis eloki, and the spark of God, hamaluvish ba, which is enclosed in it, lachayoseh, to give my soul existence, k'niskalel, as mentioned before. So therefore, I am happy for the soul, and I'm humbling my body. Hi, Gavna, and it doesn't mean sad for the soul, sad for the body. It means the concept. I'm putting my body in essence in its right place, and the right place is it's secondary, and in comparison to the soul, it's irrelevant. It's only there for its vehicle. It's only there for the purpose of the soul, and therefore it's garnished. So it doesn't contradict the concept of being humbled in my eyes and to have a broken heart in the aspect of breaking my animalistic soul and breaking my Yetzer Hara, and at the same time being joyful actually through this breakage that I'm bringing out the beauty of the soul. It's actually through this breakage and through this humbling that I'm actually revealing the true joy, the joy of the soul. Ukahai Gavna, and as we find similar Isa b'Zohar, we find the statement of Zohar, weeping is lodged in the side of my heart, and joy is lodged in the other side of my heart. I can have happiness in one side of my heart and sadness in the other side. Rabbi Eliezer exclaimed that these words upon the hearing from his father, Rabbi Shimon, and a satiric exhibition of the destruction of the temple. On one hand, now he felt even more keenly the enormity of the tragedy. On the other hand, he was full of joy over the secrets of the Torah that had thus been revealed to him by his father. So in essence, he was sad about the sadness of the world, destruction of the temple, and at the same moment, he was happy at the revelation of godliness. They don't contradict each other. One is about the sadness of the physical world, and the other is about this happiness of the spiritual world. We thus see from the Zohar that the two opposite emotions, stemming from two separate causes, can exist in one's heart side by side. They don't contradict each other. because of two concepts. Same thing where we learn that the person needs to separate. To have Avos Yisrael, you have to separate the body from the soul. So you should be sad that another person is doing an Aveda, and you should try to fix it. And at the same moment, you uplift him and be happy with him that he has a godly soul, which he has. So therefore, we can accomplish two things at the same time. We can accomplish sadness of what's happening in the world, and at the same time, be happy that Baruch Hashem, we're still here and we have a godly soul, and we can accomplish unbelievable things in this sadness. And that's what we learned from Rabbi Akiva, that even at the time of the destruction of the temple, he was happy. He rendered his garments to the destruction of the temple. At the same time, he was happy that there's going to be a concept of a rebuilding. And that's the way a person needs to do it, because if you're going to wait, if we're going to wait till all sadness goes away, we'll never be happy. We'll never be able to accomplish happiness in life. And so for the Sud, that's even a sadder situation if you can't accomplish happiness in life. And that completes the Tanya of the day. Today is the third day of the month, which is chapter 18 to chapter 22. Chapter 18 to chapter 22, and you would do the Chitas of the day. I wish you a wonderful and beautiful and happy and healthy